Hong Kong has become a gaping hole in China's national security. Those are the words of the territory's chief executive, Carrie Lam, as she delivered her delayed annual statement. She said the pro-democracy protests and demonstrations of recent times had presented the most severe political challenge since Hong Kong was returned to Chinese rule in 1997. And she promised to restore order.
In the past year or so, Hong Kong has experienced the most severe political challenges since its return to the motherland. One of our urgent priorities is to restore Hong Kong SAR's constitutional order and political system from chaos. It is the constitutional responsibility of the Hong Kong SAR to safeguard our country's sovereignty, security and development interests. Article 23 of the Basic Law stipulates that Hong Kong shall enact laws on its own to prohibit specified acts and activities which endanger national security. Notwithstanding Hong Kong's reunification with motherland 23 years ago, and after 5 terms of government, this legislative exercise is still not yet completed. Hong Kong has become an obvious gaping hole in national security and presented significant risks to the country.
Well, our correspondent Steve McDonnell is following this story from Beijing. He says while Carrie Lam's comments sound serious, they are thin on detail.
She didn't exactly spell out where these risks were or what this gaping hole in real terms meant. I mean, she referred more broadly to the opposition figures who'd sought the help of outside forces in challenging her government and also challenging Beijing. Now, I guess by that she's implying, but didn't say, that certain opposition figures had welcomed sanctions to be placed on her and other senior members of her administration, welcoming the pressure, I suppose, from the likes of the British government after the national security law was introduced. Now, this is an annual speech that the Hong Kong leader gives, and this year it was delayed in order to allow her to travel to this city, Beijing, and speak to the Communist Party's senior leadership. Now, crucially, that delay meant that by the time she's gone back to Hong Kong, she's giving that speech inside a legislative council now without any opposition. So last year there was heckling and what have you from opposition politicians. Now there's nobody there. This followed the mass resignation of the entire pro-democracy bloc after Beijing gave Carrie Lam the power to sack any elected politician seen to be insufficiently loyal to the motherland. So a much easier, I suppose, climate in which she could deliver that speech today. But the main point she'd given, she defended the new draconian state security law, which has restricted dissent in that city, as necessary to bring the place under control, to, in her words, restore constitutional stability. Now, you know, this law has been heavily criticised. She would say, though, that it was necessary because of the chaos that those mass protests had caused in Hong Kong last year.
Steve McDonnell there.